come qua. Sapri e peki go. Ang service ka pa maldo. Si panitian su queso. So we piti me kakai go. Sa ou fait, sa ou ouais. Dopo se pa fe juve. Kana we di shote bon I know. Somewhere do find me out there. Oh yeah. Pawabol ni boko say. Mun creon pa pran sommeil. Pawala clewe con un soleil. Wazeni away. Mama for today. Oh yeah. Coco mi gua.
Hi, Jackie. How are you?
Parce que c'est pas tous les jours qu'il meurt. Bouche femme, c'est pour manger. Là-bas, un barbecue quand je vais. Si la manière va la volonté. Même passion bonne pour pencher. Oh yeah. Pawabol ni bon conseil. Mon crayon pas prendre sommeil. Paola clé comme un soleil. Wazeni's away. Mama for today.
Come on in, y'all. Like and share. Like and share. I feel like a little healing tonight. Halibut, Powerball, halibut out of Dominica, not to be confused with the Dominican Republic. We love them, but we are a completely different country. Dominica is further south. Dominica is between Guadeloupe and Martinique in the Caribbean. Okay, I am Dr. Triffy. I'm a licensed psychologist in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist, and I do a ton of other healing work. I live in Atlanta and I practice in Atlanta, but I am from the nature island of the Caribbean called Dominica. And today, for our Transforming Trauma session or Therapy Thursday, I thought about doing a little bit of dissecting on the kidnapping of 12-year-old KernishaEttiene. And I still want us to explore some of the spiritual aspects, it seems, that many people are bringing up about that event. But today being 1 month since Kernisha's been lost, really lost. To us, it feels, to many people, it feels as if she's vanished into thin air. Today's 30 days since she's gone missing, and the community has been completely traumatized, really, by this event, completely baffled, confused, in many instances, I believe, overwhelmed. I thought that today I would push back the religious little vibes that we're getting, the spiritual kind of talk about what might be some of the other contributing factors. And I thought I would take care of us today. as community. And I want to do that by exploring with you seven, seven secrets, seven wisdom secrets, seven secrets of longevity, seven healing secrets that are hidden in the Powerball of Dominica. What's a Powerball? So in Dominica, we speak French Creole, a French based Creole, but it's really an amalgamation of African words, some Spanish words, uh, on a French on a French platter, similar to Cajun in Louisiana. And we also speak English. And our ancestors, I have one of our lovely ancestors on the screen, our ancestors who lived to be very healthy and very wise and older. I'll talk about that in a little bit too. Left many parables, left many sayings, left many little capsules of wisdom that they just orally passed down to us. They'd say it and translate it and use it in the language. And in those Powerball are hidden secrets to longevity, hidden secrets to how to not just live well into your hundreds, as in over 100 years old, but how to live well in body, in mind, and in spirit. And I feel the energy of the ancestors, like Ma Pampo, who's on the screen with us tonight, asking us to anchor ourselves in who we know ourselves to be. And they have taught us who we are. They actually handed down the lessons in these secrets, in these secret Creole parables that many of us, we throw them around. So I started the session tonight with a song by the name Pawabol, meaning parables, by Halibut, one of our legends, musicians in Dominica. And Ma Pampo on the screen lived to be, we know, at least 125 years old. And right around 2000, 2002, Alex Powell Bruno, you are the expert on that. Ma Pampo made a big buzz around the world because she was up to be the world's, the Guinness Book of Records holder for the oldest living human on the planet at the time. Now, of course, when you are born in a little island at a time of when slavery was still a thing, you might not or might have had your birth certificate. So there was some controversy as to whether or not Ma Pampo really was the oldest living human at the time. We believe strongly that she was. Uh, some people dispute it. But Ma Pampo and other elders like my grandpa lived to be 104, my paternal grandpa, and my maternal grandpa lived to be about 92, I think. Centenarians are those people who live, they've got the secret on longevity, okay? They've figured it out. And in 2000, up till about 2002, I'm not sure what the stats are as of today because Dominica's population has changed so much. Right after Maria, lots of people left. So the numbers might look a little different right now. But Dominica was the island or the country, not even the island, the country in the Western Hemisphere with the highest number of centenarians per capita in the Western Hemisphere. Now, that is quite a feat for a little island at the time of about 70,000 people. About 70,000 people, right? So that's something we boast about a lot. And clearly, at the time, Dominica being so isolated and secluded, without an international airport, being so rugged and not so commercialized as many of the other Caribbean islands, was able to hold on to a lot of its, the people were able to hold on to a lot of their practices, to a lot of their innate wisdom, and they were able to hand that down to us. And so my generation is the generation, I believe, that still really has those secrets. And I am doing my part. I know many people are doing their part to preserve those secrets. Besides the good food, organic food, which help them to live long, besides the clean water, which we have an abundance of in Dominica, besides the pure air that we have so much of in Dominica, there was a mindset, there was a certain psychology, there was a certain way of living and looking at life that our ancestors used to help them live well. And again, when I say well, I don't just mean well into their hundreds. I mean well, body, mind, and spirit well. So I have spent a lot of time writing about this, thinking about this over the years. And because I love the number 7, because 7 is a number of completion for those numerologists, and because I was born on the 7th day of a month, yeah, I have a love for 7. So although there are many, many parables in the Dominica vernacular, in the culture, I've chosen 7 that I think hold secrets to healing and maintaining your peace of mind, maintaining your body, maintaining your spirit at a level of balance, so that when times are hard, like they are tonight, 30 days out, and we cannot find Kernisha still. Just a few years beyond Hurricane Maria, where we were practically obliterated. A few months out of COVID, we're still wearing our masks in Dominica in large measure. There's a lot of trauma that the island has collectively experienced, both the people within the island and in the diaspora, because the Dominican diaspora is very plugged in to life in Dominica, very plugged in. I would say I feel as if I'm in Dominica half the time. My brain, my mind is in Dominica half the time. It's like I'm living a dual existence where I am. And I sense from the conversations that we're having that most Dominicans, that's the way we live. So tonight, my intention is to offer you 7 of these Powerball that I have looked at and explored, that hold encapsulated in them, almost like a capsule. Yeah? If we can pay attention and hold on, we will keep the secrets and we will be able to maintain balance, emotional balance, physical balance, spiritual balance. So, first one, I'll say it in Creole and I'll give you the English translation. Okay? The first one is Sini Bobo Ini Logan. Sini Bobo Ini Logan. What does that mean in English? If you've got a wound, if you got a pain, if you got a problem, every problem has a solution. Every problem has a solution. You just might not yet have found that solution. And so it does not mean you give up. It means you keep trying until you get the solution. Many times we have to fail our way into success. It's by the trial and the error that you get to the answer. Some of us give up because it hurts when we fall. Wounds hurt, yeah. And a lot of us might be tempted to give up, let go, surrender. When I think about the search that's happening right now for Kenisha, I pray that we remember that Sini Bobo Ini Logan. Alongan, in African, this is one of the words that I believe is from the African word Ogun, Ongun, who is the healer, the bush doctor, okay, the natural healer. So any bobo you have, a bobo is a sore. And I talked to maybe a couple weeks ago, but thinking the idea that Dominica has wounds, many wounds. We've been battered. We've been battered over the past 6, 8, maybe 10 years. And I feel like the island is limping and trying to get up and trying to get up. But wham, you keep having these cuts at the knee, boom. And so what I want to remind you of is that people like Mapampo, and if you've heard it in your home, if you've heard Sini Bobo Inilogan, type it in the chat or put a thumbs up in the chat for me, or put a Dominica flag in the chat for me so I know you understand what I'm talking about. Sini Bobo Inilogan, in your life, in your personal life, you don't give up, you don't let go until you find the solution. No, finding solutions requires doing lots of things like asking for help, doing research to find out, hey, how do I really make this work? I might have to take some extra courses. I might have to get help from somebody else. But if I keep on that track, sometimes all I got to do is ask the right question and I get the answer that I need. Okay? So that's Powerball number 1. Powerball number 2. Patiwe boudin eve mete pie. Patiwe boudin eve mete pie. Do you know what that means? If you know what that means, let me know. Because all of us at this juncture, we gotta, like I say, dig deep into the knowledge and the wisdom of the elders to help us through, to help us recover from these traumatic events we've been suffering collectively. Okay? So, Patiwe Boudin Evemete Pai. Really, that's about grounding and staying connected to your source, to your origin, to your roots, sticking to your roots, sticking to your roots. Patiwe Boudin Evemete Pai means don't just remove what you know and what is good and your people and your relatives and your community and just toss them aside and replace your values that your elders taught you for these new values that you're seeing on TV that you're not even sure about yet. A lot of people are fussing, rightly so, about maybe the generation of our children where we're lamenting that, hey, what is going on with that generation? Well, what is going on with that generation? One of the things might be we are forgetting to teach them these Pawabol and the importance of holding on to their Dominica values, to their source values, and yes, investigating new things, but really being judicious about what you say yes to and what you say no to, what you take into your bosom, because that's what it is, your bosom. Your boudin is your belly, your stomach. So if you remove your intestines, what is native to you, what is pure and raw and real to you, and you just replace it with straw, it's meaningless. Straw is a meaningless replacement for intestines. Can you imagine? So this is the second longevity secret. So many people land in hot water because they removed their boudin and they replaced it with pie. They removed what they saw, the practices, the teachings, the ways, and they said, oh, it's not good. I don't want this. I want this instead. Again, without fully investigating the new thing they were taking in. Come to find out, the new idea you're taking in is leaving you broke like a joke, or it's separating you from your family, or it's leading to homes where not enough parents are there and providing proper care for their kids. Next thing, we have kids going from pillar to post with people who they don't even really know. No, we have to be looking for them. You understand? Pati we boudin ever mette pie. In this little baby girl's example, she should have been in the bosom of her family, in the bosom of her family. But on the front end, mistakes were made in choices. And some of the people who should really have said yes to her, they didn't say yes. So they tiwe boudin and they mette pie. And you have that kind of result. So it's a corrective opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to regulate ourselves individually, but that individual regulation is going to spread to the community, is going to spread to your country, it's going to spread to your world, because we have to be the change we want to see in the world. I have to become the change I'm saying I want it to be different. I want it to be different. I want it to be different. Oh, why is this happening? Why are things so bad? Well, I have to change first. I have to change first. Me just seeing that, oh, it's horrible. Oh, this is bad. This is not good. I'm just seeing, but what am I doing? I have to change it. That's how it changes, because I have control over whether or not I keep my boudin, my intestines, yeah, and I leave the straw out there. Investigate the straw, but you don't have to replace your intestines with that straw. Okay? So you got 2 down. Powerball number 3. Life is really painful sometimes. Whether or not you're trying, you don't have to be looking for it. But keep this in mind. Abalate setive. Abalate setive. So this one is more French. Yeah. Aba, below, la terre, the earth, setive, little worms. Beneath the earth are little worms. What does that mean? That means live in the moment. Be present to your life now. Enjoy your life now, because you really don't know what's coming tomorrow. Tomorrow might be a Tomorrow might be a So this family, Kernisha's adoptive family, Kernisha herself, Kian Alexander's family, this family, you think on June 6th, anybody could have envisioned what was going to happen on June 7th? No. Sometimes we get into a pattern where we postpone our joy, we postpone happiness, and we kind of say, oh, let me wait. I don't have enough. This parable, this teaching says, practice the art of mindfulness, being present, being here now with the people you are with now. Those of you who have lost people in your life, you really understand that concept. It's about presence. It's about mindfulness. So our elders didn't know about what the Buddhists were doing on the other side with the principle of mindfulness, but they were practicing mindfulness. And they anchored it in joy. They anchored it in enjoyment. So I like to say, don't go too hard on our people because we love siwo. Siwo is a Creole word meaning syrup, and syrup is sweetness. And we use it now to describe party, good time, fete, joy. Dominica is an island where Every other weekend there's a fete, a pan knocking, and two people will start dancing. I think that's part of our coping. So lots of people went to the cricket match when the West Indies and Bangladesh were in Dominica over the weekend the other day. And some people were like, oh my God, but this horrible thing is happening to Kanisha right now. We still haven't found this child. Why are people out having fun? I actually think that was a healing thing. I think that was a proper thing, because you have to live. You have to live even as you're in sorrow, even as you're in pain. You have to create these new experiences to go along with. The other good reason for that is joy creating, joy inducing experiences raise our vibration, because they connect us to the joy, as opposed to just the sadness and the pain and the terror and the horror. It is okay. It is okay. Uh, the phenomenon I'm thinking about that might have made some people uncomfortable is called survivor's guilt, where when something horrible like that is happening, you're saying, well, why should I feel happy when something so terrible is going on? Or somebody, your friend's husband might have died and you just got engaged. Do I deserve this? Should I share my good news with my friend? Yes. Yes, you're not rubbing it in their face, but you're continuing to live as a human being. So Abalate Setive reminds you that, okay, what if you postpone the joy and tomorrow you get into an accident? What did you postpone it for? Hmm? It's about being present and living your life today, now. Okay? So, Powerball number 4. Okay. So, whew, I'm using poor little Kanisha's story because, again, this is what we are focused on right now. The next parable is to Mawe Wen Eve Babondao Twatap. Mawe Wen Eve Babondao Twatap. Tie your waist and give your butt 1, 2, 3 spanks, because this is rough. Yeah, these are tough times. These are tough times. And I've been trying to see who in my life is not going through a tough time right now. Most people around us are having big, big, big challenges. It's almost as if your friend, your sister, your neighbor over there has got their own bag that's so heavy on their back, and you've got a bag that is so heavy on your back. It's almost as if you can hardly reach out nowadays for some support. So what does that mean? Are you going to fall underneath the weight that you're carrying? Well, what the elders say to do is to tie your waist, buckle up. You got to tie your waist a little tighter, buckle up. Hmm? And if you need to, they say, pop your butt 3 times. Give your little, okay, okay, let me get up. All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, 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 okay. So if you wanted to just stay in the bed and sleep, which is what I've been feeling like I had been feeling like doing this after December, when I went through a really horribly painful loss when my fiance passed away. And my body and my mind and my everything in me wanted to just stay in the bed. But life is moving even as you are feeling and living. And when you're moving through pain, that energy is very heavy. And so it does just depress you. And so what your elders are saying and reminding you tonight to do in your tough time, in this tough time, as we keep searching for little Kernisha, is to buckle up our waist. We might have to take turns being quote unquote strong, yeah, but we got to stay energized. On the butt is to energize yourself. The the strap around the waist is to gird your loins. Yeah, brace yourself and give yourself a little pep and keep it moving, because life doesn't wait on us, does it? Hmm? Before I go to the next one, hi Jillian. Gillian or Jillian? How do you say your name, Jillian? With like, does it have a J sound or a G good sound? Welcome, Jackie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Nona and Lioness, welcome you all. Share the live. You know, this, we need this kind of nourishment spiritually, because we have been putting out a lot of strong emotions of a lower vibration: anger, rage, fear, terror, pain, grief. We've got to replenish. We've got to replenish. I think sometimes for some of us, it feels like, oh my God, if I don't stay in that hyped up, angry state, then I'm not really fighting for her. I'm not really doing enough. Well, that is not true. That is not true, because really, if you're running a marathon, you have to learn how to slow down at certain points so you can speed up. Okay? You have to be more tactical in a long stretch of a race than if you just got to go sprinting hard. Many of us thought we were going to have to be, it was just going to be a quick sprint, couple days, we'd find the little girl. What? Nada. It's not working out that way. Okay? So this is the time to mawewe. If it babonda nu twata. The cops, the safety people, this is 30 days out, energy is low. Again, the stress, tired, the brain is like shutting down on you. Well, it's time to, again, we might have to go in turns, but it's time to mawewe eve babonda nu twata. Gotta keep going. Linus, you are very welcome. You're very welcome. Hi, Nyamba. Good night. And Kimmy, how are you? Thank you, Kimmy. Thank you, Kimmy. Yes. Okay. So it says like good. Okay. That's so cute. I love that you did that, Gillian. That's very sweet that you did that. All right. So the next Powerball, y'all, for me, is the sweetest one, because that's the anchor. That's the real anchor Powerball. It's not like a Powerball. They don't really say it as a Powerball. They say it as a phrase, or this, I heard it in my home as a phrase. They'd say, "Sefoni NATIWELLE." What does that mean? NATIWELLE is divine love. NATIWELLE is unconditional love. NATIWELLE is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. NATIWELLE is as tough as it is. Even while I'm moving through this pain, I still have to keep my heart open. I still have to keep my heart open. And so I've been encouraging all of us, because I've gotten angry, I've gotten sad, I've gotten anxious, I've felt afraid throughout this 30-day process. But we have to anchor it in NATIWELLE. NATIWELLE is blessing. NATIWELLE is, even if this person, I know they're not the nicest person, I can still do them a good deed. NATIWELLE is what let our parents cook all these. We used to have these huge pots. We grew up with these huge makokot, huge pots with so much food, just in case a stranger passed by, just in case a tourist passed by, just in case somebody from another village happened to be walking by. They would call them in and offer them a plate of food. They didn't have to know them. Okay, so it's that generosity of spirit. That's the same generosity of spirit that had villagers taking turns helping each other grow their farms. When it was planting time, they took turns. Oh, it's Mr. So-and-so's time to plant today. We're going with him. Tomorrow or next week, that man would come with the rest of the people, and one other person would get their garden done. Yeah. Or if they had to go fishing, that's the way they did it, with the kudme or the kulme. Yeah. A little hand. Just give me a little hand. Yeah. It's kind of it's a way of bartering, but really it wasn't bartering, because they were doing it with zero expectation that the other person was bound to them. So they gave without obligation, without a sense of, oh, see, I did for you today. Now you're not doing for me. You went gua. Some people would say that, but you have individual personalities. But as a collective, it was just an expectation that if there's an elderly person in the village who does not have her kids here, whose kids might be out of the island, other villagers would come clean up, wash up, make sure they had food to eat. These things take nothing from us, absolutely nothing, and we get so much. So what we get from NATIWELLE is what is called altruism. And that is one of the most powerful ways to increase happiness psychologically. Doing for other people without expecting anything in return. And it didn't have to be a big thing. It wasn't a big thing. If you brought a little plate of food for somebody, it's not a big thing. Okay? So, yeah, Lioness, NATIWELLE is love. It's pure love. It's that agape love. Okay? It's not love in the sense of romantic love or eros or philia or like brotherly love. Also, you're my brother, so I'm going to do it for you because we are cousins. Not that. It's just heart wide open for the people around me, starting with the people around me and towards the rest of the world, towards the rest of humanity. Okay? So, Lioness, you say, NATIWELLE is love, is all we could show to prove our hearts to each other. Absolutely. It's a way of living. Born to Succeed says it came natural. And you say came in the past tense. I'm saying it comes to us naturally. It comes to us naturally. When a baby comes into the world, the baby comes in like wide open, heart wide open. And so it's in our environment that we learn whether or not to keep that going or not. So if our kids are losing out on that powerful gift, because think about it, they were storing up for themselves blessings. And sometimes they themselves might not live to see the reward, but their children would, because that neighbor's kids would learn about what that person had done. And then 20 years down the line, that person's grandchild would be looking out for that person's grandchild. And so that's how you store up blessings for yourself. So I think NATIWELLE, I think really the secret is in the NATIWELLE. I think the secret is in the NATIWELLE. Natasha, you say coup de main. Exactly. It's a coup de main, like a piece of the hand. Okay? I give you a hand up. Give you a hand up. Born to Succeed says, sharing the foods from the farm and sharing the fish and the meat that was cured. Absolutely. Every Christmas, you knew your neighbor would save you some of their viande salée, their salted meat. When you had so much, some people had so much that they could give, and they gave without expecting anything back in return. Okay? Exactly, Lioness. I remember, like, I just heard my parents talk about, and this word was just like ringing through the house, this NATIWELLE word. If a person, they would look at certain people who were mean spirited, who were not kind, who were not generous, and they would say, Munsa Pani, P.S. NATIWELLE. They have no love. They have no love. And Lioness says, Si Pani NATIWELLE, Use or munki move, you're a bad person. That's what they said. If you had no love, if you did not have that kind of love, and it wasn't just for yourself and your relatives, that is filial love. It was agape love. It was that divine love, that God kind of love. And so I think I'm talking a lot about that piece because I think that's where the anchor is. Yeah, in the heart. with the NATIWELLE. That's why Born to Succeed, they would say that person is an Ngoa. And they would say, say, on cochon, like, as that person a pig, you know? Say, on malbouo. Yeah. And they looked at that person kind of like a sociopathic sort of person who had not experienced natural affection, who had not experienced natural affection maybe from their parents, that they had turned out that way. Okay, so this is something I want to make sure I encourage us to hold for dear life, because imagine in that kind of NATIWELLE, you are storing up for yourself that sense of altruism, doing for other people. All your good hormones coming up, stress hormones go down, longevity. You see this? You have NATIWELLE for people today, they're looking out for you tomorrow. So when you're sick, who's rushing you to the hospital on their backs? They would carry each other on their backs. You live longer, you get to help. So it's all those little things that sometimes they're intangible. You cannot touch it, you cannot see it. It's not as if somebody's giving you $50 for the coup de main. But you are storing up treasure for yourself long term, not just for yourself, but for your generations and the generations and the generations. Because all people are so oral and story focused, they pass the stories down. And so the grandkids learn about what this person's grandfather did. You keep that good feeling. Lioness, absolutely. NATIWELLE makes you young. Why? If you have a decrease in stress hormones, what happens? You have a decrease also in inflammation. That's what have me so pretty, Lioness. I appreciate it, my sister. Back at you. Back at you, okay? You keep the stress hormones down. And I'm telling you, life, all of us know life hurts like a mug some days, right? And so you have to really tap into that. You have to tap into that like real hard. On a lot of days, some days you want to take a person out, but you can't. You got to go, you got to breathe a little bit, do something different, and then tap into that heart of yours. So Gillian, you said you remember when someone died, all the ladies, every last one, they don't care if they were vexed, or they would catch themselves being vexed with one another. Somebody might have given somebody a little mepui yesterday because whatever, they hurt their feelings, but they would all come. They'd wash and they'd clean. They would cook. They would find food. That family who was grieving did not have to do hardly a thing, because people would go find their food in their gardens to come and make sure there was food and they were taken care of. Even with that, I think I remember the grieving process back then used to be a long, stretched out, delayed process where people were day. Halibut talks about Mama Pote Day. Day is the grieving clothes where they started with black and then they went to the softer colors. The more time had passed on the grieving, and the whole community knew that person was in sorrow, so they were gentler with them. They took more care of them. They handled them with kid gloves. Yeah, they were more tender with them. And so this is a powerful principle. I think it's life-changing. I really think it is life-changing. And I read the research that Ross University did on the elders, where they identified, of course, tangible things like food, organic food, of course, clean water from the sources, the mountain springs. And they talked about the clean air. But I think it was also that internal NATIWELLE that anchored a lot of their behavior, that kept their stress low. Their stress was low. Even though they didn't have a lot of money, they were happy and joyful and lived that way. They lived that way. Mm-hmm. You have phrases in the vernacular like people would come upon each other and they'd be going to their gardens and they would stop and one would say, "Well, how are you?" And the other one would say, "Not too good, nah." And they would stay there for 3 hours talking until the end of that person's unburdening. 3 hours. Hmm? They have phrases in the language like, "Kumawiye, how are you?" "Oh, mola kahale dia palache." What does that mean? That means I'm there. I've got the devil by the tail. I'm just there pulling the devil by the tail. Life is hard, but I'm moving along. I'm doing the best I can. So there was very seldom money la Malawi, Malawi. They would say Mwela kavwe mise pa mo. So they ended the complaint on a positive, hopeful note. I am there. I'm going through a hard time. I'm in misery, but I'm not dying. So the language was about healing and moving up and success and life. Okay? Linus, you said, of course, they could discuss their problems with each other. So there was a lot less stress. Absolutely. Absolutely. They would go sit. I mean, my mom's best friend in the village, they would just sit for hours and just cause is what they call that. Talk. They would just cause for hours on end. My mom and my bear would tell would be talking. If Mabel Hotel is not at her house, she's at Mabel Hotel house. Eolaka Koze. They're just talking. All their stresses they would release with each other. Okay? That is grounded in NATIWELLE because that is like, hey, I have a lot on my plate too. I have to do my chores. My kids are coming home. My husband's coming home. But I've got time for you. I've got time to be with you. Always a l'histoire, always a history, always a story, always a story. And they took time to listen to each other's stories. The joyful ones, oh, my child wrote to me and she sent me $20, or the painful ones. My daughter is sick. She has a cough, can't get over it. So the good and the bad, they shared their lives with each other. They shared this, they made time for each other. Yeah, right now people can't discuss too much with each other. Yeah, so we've gone away from the NATIWELLE because we've gone into a place of criticism, like deep criticism, where it's hard for us to hear people who have different thoughts. It seems like it's become very painful. But I think what we need to do is remember. It's all about perspective, you know? Criticizing is not for me. Criticism, I know some people like to use the excuse of, oh, I'm trying to give you constructive criticism. I tell people, please keep it for yourself. I appreciate your desire to constructively criticize me. But if you're coming to me with any form of criticism, keep it for yourself. What I would prefer is that there are other ways to use your words so that what you're saying to me is not criticism. I'm not a fan of, oh, I'm trying to give you constructive criticism. No, keep it. Tell it to me in a different way. Or those people who tell you, well, I just want to be your devil's advocate. Hey, trust me, I don't want you to be my devil's anything. No, I don't need it. Okay? Born to Succeed, you say the elderly taught the young to pray, even in Latin. Absolutely. Short lines. And they really took pleasure in doing that. They took pleasure in training many of us, but a lot of us, we didn't want to sit and listen, or we were taking it in, but we were like, oh. So perhaps we didn't hold the value of that enough to hand to our kids. So we've, it's almost like we've missed a step. Even in sickness, people would criticize. That's why I observe people die very fast. You know what? So the spiritual principle in that, Lioness, with the words is that words have power. Words have energy. You can speak words over water, and water changes its shape. Its geometric patterns change based on the words you say. Okay? So if you say the word love, love has a different vibrational frequency than I hate you. Oh, why are you doing that? You're disgusting. Different words, different energy. Some people speak to their flowers and their plants, and the plants respond. Words have power in the vibrational energy. And so if all you're getting from your people, or people who say they're there to love you, is negative words, that's not healing. That's not encouraging me to breathe and aspire. So I'm encouraging you to land your language in NATIWELLE. Do unto others. Would you be okay if I said the same thing you said to me, to you? It's that simple. Like, it's, if you would be completely okay with it, okay, you know, but at least try, at least try. A lot of stroke and depression because they're afraid and ashamed now to even tell each other that they're suffering. So we're stifling it, we're holding it in, and we're suffering more and more alone. Meanwhile, our elders, they'd be going to work, honey. They have their garden to do. I saw it every day. And the men did it too. The men and the women did it. And they would meet up, and talk would bring talk, and they would not leave the conversation until the other person was in a place of stability. They would not stop the conversation until the other person, they wouldn't leave you wide open. It wouldn't be like you would say, oh, once, yeah, oh, money or peel bag I see when we like I have a lot on my heart, you know. They would not leave you wide open like that. Oh, I busy way. Yeah. And life has sped up too for us. Okay. So we got to cut ourselves a little slack, but we have to make the time in a different way, though, like we're doing tonight, to talk through. This has been part of why I've been trying to show up. So we talk and vent, because imagine if all we're doing is just this kind of random, somebody posts something and you just say, your brain's about to explode with this stuff about this little girl, and you have nothing. You just like, oh, all day long. I know how impacted I was. I couldn't sleep for 48 hours. And then I had to really buckle down and create a plan for how to care for myself through this. I know a lot of you have been distressed, heavily distressed with this. So we have to show up. We have to mimic what we used to do back in the day. Because if that had happened back in the day, the people would sit together and talk all night long. Every night after work, they would gather somewhere on a big stove somewhere and talk. Talk it out. Get the poison of the emotion out. Okay? Express it, release it, remove the negative vibrational energy from inside of your body, and put it out there and ask the universe, ask God, ask the earth to transmute it, change it into something hopeful and beautiful. Okay? All right. Speaking of talk, here's the next parable. The next parable is Upanipuni Wespeime. What does that mean? Upanipuni Wespeime. I used to be a shy little girl, very shy. Didn't like to talk. Do you believe it? My parents stayed on me. You mustn't have Wespeime. Se papuni Wespeime Timun. That means you can't be afraid of humanity, of people. You can't be afraid, so afraid that you don't use your voice. Because your voice is your salvation, really. So when you have to speak up for yourself, you can't be afraid that the person is not going to like you, or they're going to criticize you, or they're going to disagree with you. All of that is to be expected because people are different. They have a right to their difference. So do you. You have a right to your difference and your uniqueness. Your voice is unique. they'd say other things like "Pa mette gloire da bouche pour parler." Yeah, be clear, be direct and honest. I think sometimes our people can go a little sideways with that. Like sometimes we're a little too blunt in Dominica, don't you think? Yeah, sometimes I think our people, our boundaries are, we all up in each other's business sometimes, and we can be a little very direct. Uh, that's right, too, Lioness. Don't be a crook. Be pure in your language. Be direct. Be clear. Express your thoughts and your feelings. Because just as the other person has a right to talk, you also have a right to talk. Okay. And so now I'm giving you the bonus, almost the bonus. I got two more for you. This one is about intuition. This one is faisier bui pow. Make your eyes, boil your peas. Keep your eyes open. Okay? Keep your eyes open. It's okay to see the truth. It's okay to see and know and acknowledge. A lot of us are afraid of seeing truth. Why? Because it means we're going to have to do something different. For a lot of us, it's hard to acknowledge truth because it means I've got to make a change. But hopefully, my dear, that change is for your upliftment, it's for your sharpening, it's for your betterment. Yeah? So they say, make your eyes, boil your peas, keep your eyes wide open. Don't let people take advantage of you. Mind your business. Huh? Keep your eyes wide open. Vezafel. Gadezafel. We even have a Gadzafe. You know, who is a Gadzafe? A healer, a person who can see into the future. And so they would take you to a Gadzafe if you were sick back in the day, and they couldn't figure out what the problem was. A Gade. It's a person who can see. Their third eye is wide open. And there's some people, everybody's got their gift, I think. Yeah, to some are given the gift of sight and healing and prophecy and this and that. Some people's gift is to make other people feel comfortable. Some people's gift is to write. So all of us, I believe, have the gift of sight, but I think we have to pay more attention to practicing seeing beyond so that people don't key on us. Huh? So people don't key on us. Key on mean fool or take advantage of. Okay? It's okay. So do you see how they balance the NATIWELLE? Yes, I have to have NATIWELLE, but still I have to keep my eyes open. I can't just be wide open like a turtle without its shell and just exposed to people who might not have good intentions for me. I need to be able to read and discern to see who is worthy of my trust. Yes. With West Payme brings sweat. Want to succeed. When you have West Payme, people, a lot of your needs don't get met because you're not being clear. You're beating around the bush and you're trying to take care of the other person's feelings. I think it's when you have NATIWELLE gone awry. Some of us can be too, we're too nice. You have to be nice, but you have to have, again, your eyes have to be open. So they're also talking about balance, or else people just take advantage of you. You can't give all of your money to the neighbor who did not save their money, like the parable of the 10 virgins. That's not wisdom. They might not have food. You give them a plate of food, but you're not going to drain your bank account just because a man comes and he says, you're the sweetest thing since sugar pie and I'm going to invest your money. And okay, honey, on the left side of that, there's the medveiller who's always seeing. Yeah? Oh, the eyes always open. That's a positive too, because a lot of medveiller have saved many children in the community. If we had maybe a stronger medveiller in Warner, Who knows? You see what I'm saying? But when we use anything for evil, then you have the nasty medveye who's just ponging bear, who's just they got it in affair, but they got it in affair in a negative way, where they're using words that are negative. So the energy is not positive versus a God's affair who might be actually here to heal your child. Okay. Yeah, born to succeed. Many of us are afraid to change. And that's not strange because the brain hates to change. The brain prefers it if we just stay as we are right now. The same routine, the same pattern, because the brain knows it can predict it. But success is really outside of your comfort zone. That means you're going to hurt. You're going to hurt because to go outside of anybody's comfort zone, you're going to feel anxious. That's pain for a lot of us. Anxiety can cripple a lot of us. And the brain really only changes through pain. Meaning, if I have to change, I must do something I've never done before, perhaps, or have to do more of it. And that is often anxiety provoking. So that's the pain that comes with change. Sometimes it physically hurts to change. You got to lose weight. You got to hurt, but you're going to be happy in the long run. Lioness, you said people don't like to speak the truth in order that the person will turn against them. Yes, some people are afraid. We're afraid to lose connections, which is understandable, but we have to again balance. You have to decide, well, what price am I willing to pay to have that person in my life? If the price is against myself and my conscience and my heart, then I have to think harder. Change is uncomfortable for those who don't want to lose their comfort zone. Yeah. And again, most of us, we have to have compassion on ourselves because it doesn't feel good to change more often than not, even if it's good change. I mean, when you get a brand new job, you still feel the anxiety. When you buy a brand new house, you still feel the anxiety. Yeah. But we need that anxiety for success as well. So we've got to do it afraid. We got to practice more and more doing things afraid, as long as those things are for our higher good. Okay. Lioness, yes, sometimes the God, human beings, sometimes the human being might uses anything for not good, yeah, or for the negative. So there's a law of polarity. Everything that is good also has its level of bad. So you can work on the bottom level, even lower down. Yeah, and that thing that was a good thing, the gadeing, the looking out for, could become where you're looking out for, but you're being nasty with it. And no, you just a medveye in a nasty sense. Whereas you could be a real, like a neighborhood watch kind of person who's like, yeah, your eyes, you're the one okay, you keeping the community on guard. So it's up to us to decide the energy we're going to use. You have to be nice with limits because it's no time for Kione. Now, we're not doing that anymore. Kione and people taking advantage of your niceness, but they're not reciprocating the niceness. This, I think we have a misunderstanding of the niceness in Dominica. I think especially our feminine have been taken advantage of because we've been really trained to be very big in our hearts. But when you have people who haven't learned, if they don't have the NATIWELLE, if you don't scope them properly to see if they have NATIWELLE to match your NATIWELLE, they will step on your heart. So you have to see that quickly. Yeah, and draw boundaries around yourself so that you can protect your heart. Because even the Bible tells you, guard your heart. Yeah, we can be afraid of being judged. Anytime you can use your third eye, things gonna work irie. That's right. We have to practice seeing beyond. And when we see, we must acknowledge and do. take an action, take a positive action. Huh? Or you stop doing something that was negative. Stop the negative, add a positive. Okay. Um, Linus, you said they should have seen Kanisha, not only the bad side of Keon. Yeah, yeah. So we have to be balanced. We have to be balanced. Balanced. Yeah. We can't to sell you the cafe, won't you? I know. And sometimes we can get distracted with the loudness, Um, the child that's screaming is more likely to get fed. It's like something like that. There's something about like a mooing cow. The one that's making the most noise, that's the one that you're going to pay attention to. So somebody like Keon is loud, he's negatively loud in the community, he's agitated. So of course most eyes are going to be on him, because our eyes tend to be on the thing that's causing us to be more afraid. But then sometimes the more you look, the less you see. You might miss what's down there that was quiet. Might miss what was down there and that was quiet. So my final Powerball or saying or Creole nugget secret to help us through this time is, it's kind of like the umbrella. Après bon Dieu, c'est la terre. And all of us know this. This is our motto. Après bon Dieu, c'est la terre. After God, the earth. Or you can think of it like this: God first. God first. Huh? God first, then man. And some people say then the earth. God first. Give God his due. Seek ye first, and everything else will be added. Stay connected to your divine source, whatever name you call your divine source. Know where you are plugged into. High vibration, most high, whatever you call. We have many different names for it. Could be your higher self, might be the name that you use. But you got to plug in to that. That's the super conscious, like that umbrella. God first. Après bon Dieu. After God. God first. C'est la terre. Après bon Dieu, c'est la terre. Again, like I said, some people say, after God, the earth and man. So if we can remember these Pawabol, I'm telling you, these things, you can plug it in anywhere. Plug it in anywhere to get yourself back in balance. Okay? Plug it in anywhere with any situation and get yourself back in balance. It is okay to be balanced, but to be still desperately looking for Kanisha. Okay? And I'm suggesting that way again because our bodies need the balance. If not, we will maintain the inflammation in our bodies and the adrenaline, and the stress, and we become now vulnerable to illness and mental health challenges, that we already have enough problems. So we have to try to manage. Got to try to manage that bag that each of us has got. And still, as a community, as a collective, look out for Kanisha. Do our best to fight for us to find this little baby girl. Okay? So, this is my offering for tonight. I have a sense that this is what, if my Pampo could talk, my Pampo would tell all the young people, hey, handle all your business all right. You understand? Handle all your business all right. Sini bobo ini longer. Every problem's got a solution. Hold on, hang in there, figure it out. Figure it out. You can't be a wuss and just be, I tired, I tired, I can't do it anymore, my head is in me. So I said, guys, you understand? We can't deal with our problems like kids. No. Sini bobo ini longan. Find the longan. Find the healer. We can't do it. Our cops are not equipped. And that's a good thing that they haven't done this to the degree that they even know how to deal with this. Ask for help. Find support outside of what you can do. Sini bobo ini longan. Okay? Parti we boude mette paille, tout se moun la qui ka animer tes enfants left, right, center. I go in, I this, I that. I understand we're trying to create better lives for ourselves, but we gotta think about the kids. You gotta be sure if you have to leave, you know for sure who you're leaving your child with. Don't take a chance. Do not take a risk. Because even with our families, sometimes it's not all nice. You understand? So party we budeve mete pie. Stay grounded. There are lots of fancy trinkets and da 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 da. But sometimes we can surrender our little children for pie. We think we're creating a better life for them, but really we're replacing the intestines with straw. So we have to think. Yeah? Okay. Life is hard, la vie wed. Abalate though c'est tive. So you can decide to live your life with just pain, in the pain vibration, and in the sorrow vibration, and in the I tired vibration, or you can live your life a little cricket match come. You have your little money, go and enjoy yourself. A little jam pass, even if you sit down outside, listen to the music, you will feel a little joy bubble up inside. You like church, you like your little church, go church, you feel a little joy. You understand? Parce que abalate se tive. Next, mawe wen. If a babon da ou tap, you're going to feel depressed sometimes. You're going to feel low. You're going to feel overburdened because the burden is going to be heavy sometimes. Well, buckle up, mawe wen la eve babon da la tap, and keep it moving. One foot in front of the other, because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. But you got to start walking. And then boom, that NATIWELLE right there. That NATIWELLE you also have to offer to yourself. Some of us have trouble doing this. Some of us have trouble offering NATIWELLE to ourselves. But I promise you, if you don't have NATIWELLE for yourself, what you giving me is a kind of caution in me. Pastor, si ou pas about call NATIWELLE, what are you giving me? So learn how to turn that mirror that you turn towards other people of love and doing for other people. You putting everybody in front of you. That is not good. That's not a good formula. It's not a good formula. I always go back to the parable of the 10 virgins because it's the bridegroom we that tell those 10 virgins, why only don't put oil in on your lamp and only want my oil? That's not right. That is not right. Okay? So take care of yourself first. When we're on the airplanes, they tell us, even if you have an infant, even if you have your little 2-day born little baby, they tell you, put the oxygen mask over your nose first. Why? So you can really offer good help. So NATIWELLE has to start with me. So tonight, I wasn't feeling it was NATIWELLE for me to talk more about the painful parts. So my heart needed a little bit of the Creole healing principles tonight. Okay? Next, Papuni West Bayme. Don't just keep your mouth closed. Don't keep your throat chakra blocked. Uvesa. Okay? Your voice is your voice. That's your protection. That's your safety. That's how you stay safe. That's how you make your money. That's how you succeed in life. That's your uniqueness. So you can't be afraid of other people's reactions. Everybody has a right to their reactions. And as our parents used to tell us, tout moun pe ke friend nou. Everybody's not going to be your friend. It's unrealistic to think everybody's going to love you. You don't need so many friends, Sometimes the smaller your circle of really quality good friends, the better your quality of life versus everybody is your friend, but they're not really your friend. Okay? So watch that. And then this right here is so key. So key. Open your eyes. It's okay to be loving and kind, but you have to watch who you're being loving and kind to, because if there's no reciprocity and you are the only one pouring into a person, what will happen to your little cup you're pouring from? Okay, every day it'll be too empty, right? You won't have anything for yourself. So you have to watch and make sure this person is doing their part in this relationship. Okay? And then, après bon Dieu, c'est la terre. God first, then the earth, then us, human beings. The earth is there to support us. Sometimes I think we can feel very anxious in the earth, Money can throw us off, lack of money, you feel like you're worrying about money a lot. Oh, will I have people to care for me or money to provide for myself? Start practicing trusting that if life puts you here, life has already prepared enough for you. There's going to be provision for you. Like, I have a place on the earth. So that's one of the reasons therapists will encourage people to do grounding, earthing exercises where you take your shoes off and put your foot down on the earth. The earth belongs to you too. Okay? Everybody. It belongs to Oprah. Queen Elizabeth is your earth too. Just like them, is your earth too. You understand? So claim your place on the earth, but also stay connected to your source. So you are in alignment. You're in alignment. Ou planté. You understand? Ou planté. Ever ou connect, God still holding you up. So you are planted. And you're not easily swayed. You're safe. You're feeling safe. You're feeling comfortable in your skin. Why? Because you have every right to that. You've got every right to that. Okay? All right, my sisters. So we're going to end on that note tonight. Okay? So just imagine Ma Pampo is who told you that tonight. All right? We're going to keep talking about Kernisha. We're going to keep sending love and light to little Kernisha from our hearts, and send love and light to the family, to Keon's spirit, to the cops, to the authorities, to the rest of the Dominica collective, so we can take care of ourselves through this process. And we're going to hold the highest hope, highest vision, that we're going to come to the truth, and we're going to find out the truth, because it's okay for us to see and know. Okay? All right. Peace. Have a blessed night. See you all next time.